Yeah. Yeah. Can you believe they told me that I would never make it? Now we smiling in their faces, smiling in their faces.
He took 60 shots that game or whatever he did, 50 shots, I think, something like that. So, I mean, that one was also like not a legitimate game. But
shut up! Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
You know what, guys? I didn't get the memo that this week is National Hey on Kobe Week. I just didn't get the memo. Can you guys shoot me an email and forward it over to me? I need to read through the transcripts to see what is going on, because why is Gordon Hayward, of all people, saying this is not a legitimate game? The man's last game, a Hall of Famer, a 20-plus year dude, 5-time champion, his last game wasn't legitimate? Are you kidding me, bro? The guy who freaking broke his leg, wasn't even a career-ending injury, and he couldn't even come back from that and still play meaningful basketball, is telling you that Kobe's last game is not legitimate because of what? Let's get into today's clip, because I got a lot to say about this dude.
You were part of Kobe's last game, and I was never a point when you guys stopped playing defense and were like, oh, let Kobe get whatever he wanted, right?
there was not. Now, that game was different than any game I've ever been a part of as well. I mean, he took 60 shots that game or whatever he did, 50 shots, I think, something like that. So, I mean, that one was also like not a legitimate game. Both teams were out. We knew we weren't making the playoffs. They knew they weren't making the playoffs. But certainly we weren't just letting him score. I mean, he airballed multiple times because he was forcing. You could tell he was forcing, but his last 3 minutes were completely different than the last 3 minutes of the Miami game. His last 3 minutes in that game were legendary. I mean, it was like the old Kobe for 3 minutes. They won the game because we were up most of the game, like pretty handily. And the last 3 minutes, he like turned it on, and it was like, okay, it's real Kobe.
The Lakers were down 10 points in Kobe's last game. Do you know what Kobe did? He said, "Hold my beer. This is what I do. I am the Black Mamba."
Doing work. Kobe underneath. Count if it goes. That's why I think he's been going to the basket.
A basket equals a 50-point game. Kobe underneath. He's got 51.
True about him having a third lung, because he never seemed to get tired.
Down the middle he goes. Corner of the key. Got another one. Kobe with the ball, and the Lakers down 4. Bryant on his way. It's a one-point game.
So tired he can barely pick his feet up. Look at him. But he continues to wheel himself.
Bro, lace up these shoes a little tighter. Even though, visually out of breath, physically exhausted. I'm old as hell. I have torn labor in my shoulder. I have an Achilles injury I came back for. Tons of injuries. Dude broke his kneecap or something. Bro, this dude is giving it his all in his last game. Down by 10. In vintage form. Clutch buckets down the stretch. Even at that age, even though he's being guarded by, they're not playing lackadaisical defense. There's more defense being played here than in the game Bam Adebayo just played in. I'll tell you that much. This is way more physical defense. This is way more intensity. You can see they were intentionally trying to stop the guy, and they couldn't stop the man. So yeah, he shot chucked his last game, but who wouldn't shot chuck on their last game? It's the last game you're ever going to play in the NBA. And a guy like Kobe, who absolutely loves the game of basketball, is thinking he's not going to go out shooting and giving it his all until he's running out of E, or running on E, I should say, then you're out of your mind. But what makes this illegitimate? What makes this not legit? What makes this game not legit? So guys, and another detail y'all don't know about is that if the Rockets actually lost and the Jazz won, then they would be going to the playoffs. So yeah, obviously before the game, the Rockets already won, so eliminated their chances. But what does that mean? You don't go out there and try? Does that mean that you guys weren't trying? Because for you to be winning the whole game means you guys were obviously trying, and the Lakers were just that much of an ass team at the time. Now I know Gordon kind of gave him a little bit of love towards the end and said it was the vintage Kobe, because it definitely was vintage Kobe. As y'all seen, I ran some of the highlights here. But being down by 10 with 2 minutes to go in the game and actually scoring, I think he scored like 8 or 10 points in that stretch right there in 2 minutes to will his team back. That is what Kobe is about. That is what made Kobe the legend he is, made everybody love him so much, because even in his last game, even in the last time he was ever going to touch a floor, he still gave it 110%. He still treated it like it was the last playoff game, the last game he was ever going to play. He embodied that actual last game I'm ever going to play energy, and made a hell of a performance. The whole crowd was going crazy. Everybody showed up. What makes that not legitimate? That's the question I'm trying to figure out, and I'm asking myself, what would make him say it's not legitimate? I think Bam Adebayo's game's not legitimate. And shout out to Gordon Hayward because he mentioned that. But if we're gonna talk about something that's not legitimate, let's bring that up. Don't bring up Kobe's last game, bro. That was a memorable part of his legacy. It showed you everything he's worked for. It showed you how much he loves and dedicated his life to the game of basketball. That in the last freaking game, he was going till he couldn't physically breathe, physically on his knees, out of breath, trying to like just get it together for one last game for the fans, for his family, for his legacy. And you got a guy like Gordon Hayward saying it's not legitimate. Bullshit. My name is Tyler. This is Tyler Rose TV. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe, man. 90% of y'all ain't subscribed, so hit that subscribe, man. Come on. I'm gonna see y'all, man. Peace.